these teachings of the great Master Muhammad. And again, for those reasons, please reactivate your beautiful motivations of the joy and the appreciation, being grateful, and then vastness of motivation of the bodhicitta, and as well as the purity realization of the practice or the understanding teaching of the Vajrayana teaching of the three Vedic stages. And now with those beautiful intentions, we go to the teaching itself. And that is, now we are and in page 16, according that or whatever form you have, it's 16. Now, in the 16 and the second line of this first page, here is the samsara is mainly conceptions. Conception, when you are free from the conception, that is great wisdoms. So that is what teaching is saying. Samsara is mainly conceptions. This is generally Buddha teaching said where this samsara came from. The samsara, the gigantic samsara, where did it come from? It's all emanated or merged from our mind due to the mistake and unknowing situation of the true nature. Where it started from the original nature state of the great emptiness of the rupa. Great emptiness of the rupa, dharmakaya rupa, is pervasive freedom and no partialities, free from the partialities, discriminations, and openness from that energy of the rupa, expressive energy of the rupa. We sentient beings reacted at very beginning time, and that is the beginning of the dualities. Then we diluted the whole things, whole our display of the energy we diluted, and because we hold as a subject and object and carried away. Carried away. Otherwise, it's all from the purity state it started. Emptiness. Emptiness of the rupa, if I use the word emptiness of rupa. And how it came? Came as a delusion. It's not solid existence. Who is going through that? We all beings are going through. All the beings with 6 realms are going through this challenge. There is no end because we are fabricating continually one after another. As cocoon created its own trap, cocoon's own trap, and trapped it. Our one's own creation is completely, we are trapped it. With the hopes and fears and all the emotions. These emotions are the energy, display of the duality or ego clinging. Ego clinging is nothing but duality. It's grasping, clinging. There's nothing substantial existing, independently existing ego clinging at all. It's merely conception, idea, we're holding on to that. That is samsara. How long it is going to run? Endless. It's going to run endless. Then there is no end. Yes, there is an end if we reverse that. If each of ourselves is one's own creation, we have to reverse that direction. We have to reverse that direction. How that? That's the gracious teacher Buddha Shakyamuni said in the teaching, path truth. Path truth. Path. Then the cessation truth will come as samsara completed. So here, Great Master Muhammad Rinpoche said, it's merely conceptions. Merely, that means it's not really solid. It's merely. Why is not solid? Because mind or the concept is not solid. We discussed that earlier, and you know that. Consumption is empty. Not just empty once in a while, but that moment is empty. That's what we discussed in the Dzogchen teaching. Moment is arising, that moment is empty. Where that happening? And the emptiness space of the rupa, where it's merging back, emptiness of the rupa status. Or it comes from Dharmakaya, is hovering, or the display happening in the Dharmakaya state of rupa, it's merging back to the Dharmakaya status. But between there, we twisted by our dualities. We grasping, clinging, holding. Then is samsaras. For those reasons, what in the teaching said, Buddha teaching, Tantra teaching said that this conception is the great ignorance. This is leading us and completely pushing down us in the samsara. It is the primary cause, or the very cause of the samsaras. And Guru Pema Sambhava was teaching, so it's everywhere. It's not just saying, and few this is what I'm talking that. I'm just saying that. And Guru Pema Sambhava was said, the biggest demon is consumption. The biggest demon that was disturbing us, now and forever. Not just the one time, 2 times. The biggest demon, obstructor, hindrance, troublemaker, pain in neck, constantly, or pain in the wherever you can see. It's constantly. It is really consumption. So therefore, what great Guru Pema Sambhava said, I should kick out this, or now should kick out this consumption by the wrathful awareness of the emptiness rupa. Kick out. That's really, see, this is what the teaching, this is what it is. So therefore, now the Dzogchen is the most powerful practices that cuts directly to this conception, and then if we practice continually with this, then we will become the free of the conceptions. Out of conceptions, we are loop of the samsara is ended. We are destroying, undermining, softening. For those reasons, the great master Shanti Arya Deva, foremost student of the Nagarjuna, said that thinking of emptiness, even a short time, it makes like a kind of like softening or like loosening up the dualities. Really thinking of even a short time. How powerful? Because the emptiness realization is directly opposite of the grasping and clinging. The antidote, direct opposite. Therefore, merely thinking, it will make what one in his teaching said, it will make the sparrupo. Rupo means in Tibet means it really will make perfect. When perfect is so strong, then it's kind of strong, perfect strong. But when it becomes like rotten or something, then it becomes soft. It's just no strength. So it will make this samsara, the thinking of the emptiness, a short time, fading away the samsara maybe. Rupo in the Tibetan word, I can't translate it exactly, but means is that it makes is rotten. I mean, when perfect is rotten or something, and then it really makes it not like this. It just becomes soft. It just breaks away easily. That's what Lily teaching said. So that is. So now, when the consumption is when it's free from the consumption, what will happen? Then he said, the great Mahatma Rinpoche said, the wisdom, the great wisdom shines. As much as we free the consumption, so as much as we practice and meditate, that much the consumption, grasping is going down, softer. At the same time, the inborn, inherited wisdom is growing, expanding. It's not growing that which not existing. We are revealing more wisdoms. Then all the five wisdom will shine. When you completed, purified, liberated the duality, the consumption to the Dharmakaya Rupa status, and then full bloom of the sunshine of the wisdoms arises. That's what it says. And when you have that realization, when even here, Great Master Rinpoche said, that is great wisdom. Whoever has this realization, whoever has a realization of the emptiness of the wisdoms, that moment we're getting closer and closer to the Buddhahood, enlightenment. We're getting closer and closer to the Buddhahood and will reach enlightenment in these lifetimes. In these lifetimes, we're going to say goodbye to the samsaras. Samsara, and we discover as enlightened status. Enlightened status. And then the next one, at the end, mindfulness also disappeared in this own natural states. That means here at end, what that indicating generally. When we receive the Dzogchen teaching, that is not enough. Receiving the Dzogchen teaching is not enough. Receiving the Dzogchen teaching is great, is awesome, is marvelous, is unique, is so great. But that will be enough for us receiving that? No. This end here indicating we have to put that in action. The teaching you received, knowledge you got, glimpse understanding of the Rupa, we in each of us have to put that in action. That is known as joyful effort to the practices. We have to put that in action. Without putting that in action, the full bloom of realization, what is mentioned here, won't come easy. I'm sure you experience it. You received the teaching long time ago maybe. But how much we made progress? You can ask our own self. Have we made great progress? Wonderful. Thankful. Really. So great. That is not just, I'm saying the great, all the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, enlightened beings, lineage masters are clapping the hand of your growth. That means those who have got good realization, they become the shining stars of the galaxy of the samsaras. You're going to illuminate in some degree and dispel the darkness of all these illusions. Wonderful. But if somehow we didn't got any big progress, why? Because we didn't put that into practices with the joyful effort, with the devotions, with the bodhicattas. And maybe we just only thought, oh, Dzogchen is a big teaching. Big teaching. It is so special. I don't have to do anything. And we think that way. We are fooling ourselves or deceiving ourselves. We have to practice. Look to the Nyingma. He practiced, meditated so many years. Read the life story of Garab Dorje. Even he is the emanation of the Vajrasattvas. According to the teaching, the life story, Garab Dorje meditated. Manjushri Mother meditated in practices. He put those on practices as instruction said. Shri-san, all the lineage masters who lined as a golden chain, one after another, they are great practitioners. They are great practitioners. That's why they bear their true nature, actualize it. And all those 25 disciples of Guru Pema Sambhav, because 25 great Guru Pema Sambhav, they not come and born like that great siddhas or great yogis, the yoginis of the, they're not born. As received the teaching from the great master Guru Pema Sambhava, Ache Shenda Rachata and Mamala Matara, they put that in the action. And they got this teaching. I mean, we all know that. So therefore, in here indicating, Great Master Rinpoche said, at the end, that means if we put that in practice, continually carry that joyful effort to the Dharma, not just a 1 day, 2 day, short time, that continually keeping with the courage and commitment, devotion and bodhicitta, and then we really will reach. Then the point will come. Here said, then disable the own mindfulness. So that means we are getting closer that even no need any effort to do practices. Particularly effort, joyful effort, that practice, because your well of spending of the power of energy is continually spending. Spending because of your maturity, your energy, your motivation, now it's spending. It's accelerating by itself. Self. And what the great Master Chandrakirti in the teaching mentioned that when the important well, when the ancient time they make pottery, I mean now too, the pottery, they have well, the clay pot well, they're making well. At the beginning time, the pot maker will turn that with the hand or what method that. But once that reach to the cruise level or the level, the pot maker don't have to turn all the time. It's spinning by itself and you make the pots, clay pots. Use that examples. It's spinning by itself. Because of all the ego clingers, distractions of the negativities are kind of gone away. And the self, purity, clarity, wisdom is shining. And therefore, even the mindfulness, that effort, that thought, consumption is disappeared. And then here, when that happened here, when that happened the next month, there is no more boundaries between mindfulness and fullnesses. Then you can know, it's already mentioned here. And then day and night, they're continually maintained and free from the effort, immovable, abiding in the sky. Even you're not putting any effort in nothing particular, that if you really become strong, you are in the meditative status. Meditative means what? Actually, natural status. We are in the Rupa status. Whether we recognize or not recognize, we are always in the Rupa status or Dharmakaya status. Never left. But we distracted, we deluded, we covered up by our own dualities. Now we're back to the sport, our own dominion, our own sweet home sweet home, where we belong. And therefore, then all is become, how that become here? State of the great luminicities. Luminous state with all the wisdoms, all the compassions are shining so beautifully. And that time when the compassion and wisdom are shining so beautifully together, and we will not make any negative activity that will hurt to the others, to our own self. We're not accumulating more habit patterns. The garbage, we're not collecting back that. We're releasing now, freeing ourselves, free from the garbage of the obscurations and habit patterns. And that time here, then said, free from the effort, immovable, abiding in the sky. You are relaxing in the sky, state of the Rupa. Whether you are sleeping, you are in a Rupa status. Whether you are walking, we are in a Rupa status. Whether we are sitting down on the floor or on the chair, we are in a Rupa status. Whether we are talking to someone, we are in a Rupa status. That the clarity, the energy, that light beams are shining in our heart. That all our dominion of the perceptions are now transforming into the luminosity, clarity, or Dharmakaya or Trikaya status, realizations. And everything here, said, all that time, whatever appears, whatever activity we do, are like weather displays, sky in a true nature. Everything is really just like merging and happening, and there's nothing in it that substantially solid kind of going to it. Everything is display of the wisdoms. And next one is page 70. That time, we are, for example, if we continue to do, we are beyond helping or hurting, except or rejecting. Everything, because why? We are totally purity state of the loving kindness and the compassion and the rupa state of the emptiness is combined together inseparable. So all our activity should become activity of Dharmakaya, activity of the Sambhokaya, activity of the Nirmakayas. There's nothing to sort it out. All is benefiting to those beings. And at the same time, we are refining, reactivating our realizations and understanding of the Rupa. At the same time, we are cleaning the subtle, those obscurations and habit patterns. And when that happened, what is it? The someone who when that we happened, practice this like in this way, the marvelous Sakaya yogis. Now this is Sakaya yoga. The whole entire universe is transformed. Or see, it's not transformed. Now we begin to see. Everything is a sky state of Dharmakaya. Everything is a sky state of Dharmakaya. And all displays of the whatever arising from this space of that is Sambhokaya and Nirmakaya. You completely begin to see the external universal world as a Trikaya Medas. That yogi is great. The yogini is great. That is really, now they're back to the dominion, the original status. For a long time, we are completely deluded, carried forth with our own delusions. Now we're returning. We are getting closer to our own thrones, throne of Dharmakaya. We begin to see the palace of Dharmakaya, palace of the Rupa, and begin to see. Now really truly we are beginning to capture our own dominion of the original status. And that time or in the process of these practices, what it comes here, the devotion, faith, and compassion, and wisdom, so forth, will come naturally. When we begin to practice and meditate, generally, as much as you got the realization of the Dzogchen, that much devotion comes, that much compassion comes, that much you can understand of all these world things are that you see clearly of what is impermanent and cause and effect, the precious lives of us and others, so easily. Don't have to make any effort. We will not going to think it's kind of, oh, I don't need this. Because it's part of the display. Why we rejecting that? That is not the Dzogchen teaching. Rejecting something except means dualities. Not a form of dualities. It's dualities. So, when that happened, when these are coming, so that means all the actualizing bodhicitta is all coming so perfectly because absolute bodhicitta, now you're discovering, becomes so strong and clear as billion sun in the heart, then actualizing bodhicitta is coming so beautifully, just growing perfectly. Actualizing bodhicitta activities are principally summarized by the great teacher Buddha Shakyamuni in the 6 paramatas. So 6 paramata activity is coming so beautiful. So with this devotion, bodhicitta, and the renunciation thought, and as well as then is all part of the 6 paramata practices. And then our knowledge is shining, wisdom is shining. That's called the omniscient status. Omniscient is coming because there is no blockage of creations. Habit pattern is not blocking our inborn wisdoms. It's really coming. So then, in all this what in teaching says, all the art, the bhumi and the paths are qualities are growing. Then you are really advancing. According to general Buddhism, we are advancing then 5 paths and 10 bhumis. According to Dzogchen teaching, as I listed yesterday, 4 visions we are advancing. This path in the bhumi and the 4 vision is not externally existing. It's a level measured our inner realization of the rupa, emptiness of rupa. When you got how much we discovered, you can. This is the thermometer of our realization, measured by this. This you can see. Even you got the realization, highest realization, still calm, peaceful, humble, simple, down to the earth. Generally, when you got the realization, in the teaching said, that individual, that practitioner will become so humble, so simple, because of no ego clinging, no emotion such as arrogance, never mind attitudes. So when it comes to the phenomena or in the law of the karmas, never going to ignore, so trying to suppress, kind of bring the words of the Dzogchen teaching, trying to suppress, undermine. No, that is not practitioners. According to Vajrayana teaching and the Buddha teaching and Guru Pema Sangha teachings. More you have the realization, more you become humble, simple, more contented, more grateful, more graceful, more common sense. And together love and compassion. Boundless love, boundless compassion, boundless joy, joy to all the living beings without any discriminations. What the great teacher Buddha Shakyamuni said in his teachings, I love all the sentient beings, all the beings as my only child. Child. That is what the religion is. Infinite love, infinite compassion. When you love, have someone has love, the respect and appreciation comes to that moment to that individuals. Julius. And this just, that is part of this, what I said, is all comes spontaneous, naturals, all that. Naturals. At that time, that is grows, summer-like grows. And that moment, then when we are reaching more, and then we free from the hope and fears. And then great birth and no cessations. It's great, then great. Then this moment we reach into the ultimate, almost close to the ultimate status. Then we don't have any hopes to reach enlightenment. Or any fears that I'm going to be falling to the samsara. Because you are merging the samsara to the nirvana, or merging the samsara to the dharmakaya status. Samsara, dharmakaya are, the boundary is collapsing, and you're transforming the samsara as dharmakaya, pure land, or the akanista, omin, devachem, great pure land of the great blissful states. Really, that individually is transforming. That began to see. Then everything, and yes, there's no hopes, nothing to hoping to get enlightenment. You're already on the status. The hope and the fear, wishing this and that, is duality, is conception. Now that is gone. That is where in your status. Therefore, everything becomes as enlightened displays. And for that reason, that great master, that great practitioner, maybe that person, maybe he or she, whoever, appears as person or the individual regular beings, but inside, Rupa is completely burst up to the Buddhahood status, enlightened, Dharmakaya status, Karmakaya status. The moment they, according to the teaching, moment they pass, their physical element dissolved back to the element. Physical dissolved element dissolved back to the element. The awareness now bursted as full bloom, like here Great Master Mipham Rinpoche said, big garudas now began to fly. Flying where? In the Dharmakayas. From Dharmakaya status began to emanating Sambhokaya and Nirmanakaya according to all the sentient beings until everyone is reached enlightenment. How they're going to emanate it? In the teaching said continuation, pervasive, without any effort. That is. Continue means continuous, not just today and tomorrow, or only for 8 days they're going to emanate a benefit activity, then office is closed for 16 hours. No. For all the time, continuation. And the pervasive means not just pervasive means to everyone, not just a short place or just selected groups for human beings or not for animals. All the beings of right beings, they're going to pervasive the benefits. And when they benefit all that, now it's a big hardship, big effort, big kind of dragging, oh, I have to do this and that. No, it's continued, spontaneous. Continuation, pervasive, spontaneous, without any effort. That's how they're going to benefit. And when that's when status, and that is here, next page, you know. Next page is Imaho. Imaho. How wonderful. Imaho is a Sanskrit word. How wonderful, how amazing. Now you discovered, or we discovered, that individually discovered their innate nature as they have, without obscured and covered up by the creation of duality. Duality is gone, obscuration is gone, negative emotions are gone, now all transformed into great wisdom states. Therefore, everything for these enlightenments, everything means what? What they see, what they hear, what they smell, what they taste, what they feel, what they use it, everything is enlightened status. Not just a small group, this and that, or kind of selected things. They're everything in that sense. Then here, Great Master Muhammad is kind of concluding this. Where this come from? How that happened? Is he said the result of the ocean like the two marriages. That means when we in order to reach this, we have to make this with the accumulation practices, wisdom merit, combine it together. Great Master, his Holiness Dongyal Rinpoche said in one of his teachings, this, when we are practicing, practitioner, we need 4 treasures. He said that this is the treasure or the wealth of all the practitioners. He said, shouldn't miss or shouldn't lose these treasures, this wealth. W-E-A-L-T-H, wealth. And we miss those wealth, then our spiritual become poor. Our practice become poor. More pathetic, more poverty status. But if we have these 4, we will be rich, always rich of the practice. That means when we are rich of the practice, that means we are accumulating merits. Accumulation merit, wisdom merit. Both are building up. Really. At that moment, what we are doing, that moment, as much as we build the merit, that much is purifying. Obscurations. Obscurations. Emotion obscurations, knowledge obscurations. And you use the habit pattern. All habit patterns are clean. What are those 4 wealths? Listen, whenever you know, well, first is devotion to the lineage. Joy and devotion to the lineage. And to the Bodhisattva Sanghas. Devotions. Second wealth is love and affection to all the Sangha members. And then all the beings. That. And third wealth is great compassion for all the beings of 6 realms. Beings of 6 realms. And fourth treasure is always have thought of the impermanent. Impermanent. Or for those renunciation, what we discussed. The impermanent particular thought. Those are the great master, his own Dongyal Rinpoche highlight as wealth of the practitioners. And we're missing those wealth. That means that we are not so rich of Dharma. Then we could go down, become more poorer, poorer, and then maybe if we have company, then we have to apply bankruptcies, policy. Then that's it. Then close the door. All that happened. So therefore, if we like to make rich, well-equipped, upper class, and then billionaire, this is what great master, His Holiness Dongyal said, we should have this poor, really poor. So with that, then accumulate the merits. Then it will reveal, again summarizing this, and that will reveal the primordial wisdoms. Primordial wisdom as we discussed earlier. And then this is part of the colophon. And how the great Master Mipham Rinpoche got this realization. He said, because again the wealth of this, what his own Dongyal Rinpoche mentioned, the wealth, because he's remembering, being grateful to the teacher. This. I realize this comes from the Pith instruction of the Lama or lineages. And without a difficulty, you have, or if I apply to Mipham Rinpoche, I have this in my palms and my hand. How amazing. And if we do that, we will get the same. Realization of the Buddha nature, Buddhahood or Dharmakaya, is not just reserved by the selected groups, or it has copyright. No. We all have the right to reach enlightenment. So we will get exactly as the great Master Mipham Rinpoche got realization, as Lungchiba got that. So that is like, again, reactivating, glorifying, and appreciating, and rejoicing, and inspire to us that we should do the same way. So that is what is. Next two lines next lines are the dedication and aspirations. That is then, you see here, I don't have to talk that. And this is the great master, then he said, in that date. Then this was written by, or spoken, or taught by the Mohammed Jambradipa Dorji, mind of the fire monkey, and it's just spontaneous songs. So this, and then by this, so dedication is so important. And now I completed really about this entirely this teaching, and went to the Kumokanda, what essential point of the teachings, and I get that. But again, I like to say, just summarize this teaching. How will we practice this? How we do? I mean, of course, you all know. Put this into the three novels in a Tibet called the Tamba song. Beginning Tamba, middle Tamba, and concluding Tamba. So that means beginning good, middle good, concluding good. Beginning good is started with the devotion, bodhicitta, and appreciation, and do those really practices of the devotional practices, and as well as refuge and bodhicitta activated. And then also same time those four renunciation thought. If we have time and reflect those short times. So that is the beginning. In the middle, then you do the Dzogchen meditation as we went through. At the end, that means end of the session, when you're going to end the session and do good dedication. As great Master Mipham Rinpoche with aspiration, dedicating that which merits to all the sentient beings. Really merits all living beings to remove their suffering, the difficulty, troubles, and reach everyone to enlightenment and discover their innate nature, so that world will become more calm and peaceful also immediately, and then in the long term everyone will bring to the enlightenment status. So really wish that strongly in the heart and the mind, and then do all your dedication prayers, and that's generally all the practices according to teaching, the lineage instruction. You should put those every practice into that three frames. Beginning good means good motivation, a good intention, a good thought, and then do the practices and do good dedication prayers and aspiration prayers and wishing. Dedicate your merit at the same time what you want to wish. Here, great Master Mipham Rinpoche, may everyone discover the absolute innate nature, Manjushri, the Rapar Manjushri. May everyone discover that. Really, he prayed because of merit of this, merit of his teachings. That's what in the teaching says. They may all actually discover their innate natures. So that is very my teachings, and thank you very much again for your participations, and thank you for your dedication and to the Dharma. And you all very much devoted, whoever here, I'm sure that you're really devoted and kind of very practitioners. So I really encourage you all to practice and meditate as much as you can do in this, we have these opportunities. And this is wonderful and great, and thank you everyone again participating. And then one Sangha member asked that we can give the transmission of this teaching, but I really don't do the transmission on the line or any of those. I can do because I don't have capability to do those. So I don't do the transmission. But those individually, you all quite devoted teaching of the Buddha Dharma, and particularly Dzogchen teaching. So this Mipham Rinpoche teaching is Mipham Rinpoche is such a great teacher and is very popular. Everybody honors him, particularly Nyingma and Kajis. So you can, those lineage masters who have this transmission or the lineage teaching, and then you can ask, and since it's also not too long, I think they can give easily that. But meantime, even you didn't receive the transmission directly that, but I think that will be generally we all connected to the Nyingma teaching, to the Mipham Rinpoche. Therefore, with the devotion, when you have the power of the mind and devotion, then really it changes behind the scene. It makes something so magical things according to the teaching. Every time I mention that. So therefore, then you even didn't receive the actually transmission, but you practice it. I'm really pretty much sure we get the same benefit, the realization. But also don't just leave that way, honor to the lineages. So therefore, whenever you have the opportunity and meet the teacher who is this lineage teaching, and ask them the transmission, I'm sure they will give happily to you all. And that's I just thought. Thank you. Okay. Thank you very much, everyone. And now, if we have time, we're going to do practice of the Girth Pema Samba celebrations with our Dzogchen retreat or Dzogchen teachings. It's wonderful. Thank you, everyone, again.